Hey everyone, James Reeves, TFBTV. I'm here in Austria with two of my best friends in the gun industry. I've got Jimmy Cannon, and I've got my buddy Benny over here to the right. These guys are both retired Special Forces. Jimmy, what'd you do, man?
Yeah, I was a Green Beret. Just recently retired after 26 years. Last 20 years was with 10th Special Forces Group.
Responsible for one of the best clinical videos ever done on TFBTV. We did your little quick 5-minute breakdown on how to shoot a handgun. It was, I always say, one of the best videos TFBTV has ever made, one of the worst videos I've ever had to edit in my entire life. To my right, my good buddy Benny.
Yeah, I was in the Austrian Special Forces.
Good enough. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. Today we're going to talk about pistols. I'll ask you straight up to begin with. What is your preferred pistol and why? I'm talking like make, model.
Glock 19, that's the first one that comes to my mind.
Why is that?
Reliability, that's what I've been issued. Got a lot of rounds behind it. You can use it for multifaceted. Concealing it, wearing it outside the waistband, wearing it in a duty holster, all around. It's a pretty good gun.
I would agree with that completely. Benny, what would you say?
Yeah, I agree with Jimmy. I would say exactly the same.
Of course, we expect the Austrian guy to say that. A huge Glock 19 fan, I think one of the best handguns ever made. Now, if you could not have a Glock, what would you have instead?
Nothing. Knife or tomahawk, whatever.
What about you, Jimmy?
I would really love to carry a staccato, honestly. If I'm going to carry it on the outside, I want to let people know this is what I got. If you want to dance, let's dance.
Why not like a SIG, like a 226 or something like that? Why a staccato or 2011?
Man, I would just say it just looks badass. It feels good. It shoots flat, you know.
Right. I mean, you're one of the best pistol shooters that I've had the privilege of working with on TFB TV. So it's just funny to me that Staccato 2011 was where you went. I would love to see what you could do with one. Now, Benny, what were you issued in the military? I can guess, probably a Glock, right?
Yes, and which one?
Yeah, which one?
Glock 17 in Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5.
Do the generations matter to you?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I like the Gen 5 most.
Why?
I don't know, but I had the best accuracy with it, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
It had that new Glock marksman barrel in it. Did you ever have any problems with the Glock?
Not problems, but about the Gen 3, what I don't like is the standard make release because it's very thin and very high.
Oh yeah.
And with your support hand, you always feel it. So yeah,
that was really your only issue.
Yes, we started with I started with the Gen 3. Yeah.
What about reliability?
Yeah, you can't beat them.
Okay, that's very interesting and totally unsurprising. Jimmy, what about you? Now, I know you and I have talked before. I mean, you have worked with a lot of pistols that you've been issued. I mean, just give me a rundown.
Yeah, Beretta 92. That was the very first one.
What do you think about that one?
It wasn't bad, but there was always a problem with the locking block
sure.
breaking.
Right.
Other than that, it always, the standard SOP was to have a bag of locking blocks in the range box. Because, we were dumping a lot of rounds to those things,
sure.
and then trying to mount a light on those things. Surefire came out with there was a light extension that you could mount on the trigger guard. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
After the Beretta 92, we went to the Glock 19, the first go around with those. Had those for a while. Then we had the Glock 17.
Which one did you like better?
17.
Okay.
Just because it's a full size gun.
Sure.
If I'm doing the concealed stuff, I didn't have too much choices with that. It was either 19 or 17, but 17 for the duty carry. After the 17, we actually had some 34 and 35 slides that we could interchange out. We also had the, the Glock 22, 40 cal.
40 cal.
That was pretty cool. Interesting round. Then the 6 came out, the 320s. Those are pretty nice.
Did you like all of the guns that you were issued, or did you have any issues with them, other than the locking blocks that we talked about with the Berettas?
I say the Beretta was a great gun to start learning on because that was like the basic of basics. That gun taught me a lot and the appreciation for as the industry changed and as handguns evolved, getting better. But yeah, Beretta 92, great gun to learn on. I'd say the 19 going from a 92 to a 19, that was interesting. Shorter barrel, kind of dealing with the kick on that. But I say hands down, my favorite one to shoot was the 17. It was a Gen 5 17. It was a really nice gun.
A lot of people were just shocked to hear you say you were issued a 40 cal. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Quick timeout. I don't know how much I can talk about. It was a
We're just going to bleep all that out. Now, since we're talking about caliber, talk to me about caliber. What is your preference in terms of caliber? And obviously, 9mm,
yeah.
that's where everything's trending in the U.S. military. 99.9% of it is 9mm. But talk to me about your perception on caliber.
Yeah, so I would say my favorite round to shoot on a daily basis is 9mm, and the reason why, even like during my stint in the Army, especially in Special Forces, going all over the world, you could always find 9mm, no matter where you were. We're talking in, some town that no one's ever heard in Afghanistan. You could go to the bazaar and buy a bag full of 9mm, no problem, if you needed to. Not saying that I ever did that or anything, but yeah, you could find 9mm anywhere from the Trans-Saharan Africa all the way to Afghanistan. You could find 9mm.
That makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, for me, it's like, that's it. Boom, 9mm, done, because you can get it anywhere, especially if you're Special Forces. However, let's say you had an infinite supply of ammo, sourcing it wasn't a problem. Would you do something other than 9mm?
For a pistol round?
Yeah.
I would say I would stick with 9mm, and the reason why, just the accessories and stuff like that that's out there. There's just more stuff that's available for the 9mm round, especially like in terms of barrels and stuff like that. Playing around with the 40 cal for a little bit, that was an interesting round, a very hard round to get a hold of, expensive round, but yeah, I'm just gonna stick with 9mm.
Benny?
Same.
9mm?
9mm. And it's also regarding the magazines, they have a very good size for my hands.
Yeah.
They fit all pouches, easy to reload, good round. You can get it, like Jimmy said, everywhere, and it's affordable.
And it performs well, at least especially modern 9mm.
Yeah.
Iron sights versus optics. Jimmy?
Starting out, everybody should be learning iron sights, hands down. The reason why, to understand the gun, understand what you're doing, it's just the basics. I would totally go with a red dot, especially if I'm doing a lot of NVG shooting. But I would definitely say that as soon as you put a red dot, what's the first thing you notice? They go from like this to, and then both eyes open up. So right away, that's an awesome thing, because it gives you more, situational awareness. Everybody has NVGs these days, so it's nice to have a big dot right in front of your NVGs. There's a lot of old terms and different ways to shoot with iron sights and NVGs, but hands down, I would say red dot.
If I'm getting a red dot, which one do I get and why?
SRO.
Why?
It's big. It's a nice giant circle. It's the same shape as the T2 that most guys are running on their rifles, and it just jumps out at you. That's just from what I have seen. I know it's an open emitter. It's not a closed, and there's some pros and cons with that. But that's my preference, is the SRO right now.
Okay.
Right now is the SRO.
Benny, same question. Iron sights versus optic.
Yeah, same point like Jimmy. You should learn it with irons, but then you're faster with red dot. And we'd been to the range yesterday, and we compared some drills. Jimmy was rocking my Glock 17 with irons, and I was running a Glock 19 with an aim-point acro, and you see the difference.
Absolutely.
If you're on the same level, it makes you faster.
Benny, which optic do you like? I see you've got the acro on that Glock.
Yeah, I would go with the acro.
I like the acros. I mean, I also love the SRO. I have both.
Yeah.
I totally get Jimmy's point. I like the wider field of view in the SRO, but the closed emitter and how tough the acro is, it's just a great optic. People make a big deal, and by people I mean like civilians and mainly people on the internet. They make a big deal about sidearms and durability and reliability and what's the best sidearm. And no doubt that's very important. But isn't it true in actuality that sidearms are actually deployed very little, like in actual duty use?
That's a pretty good question. I think it's depending if you're law enforcement or military.
Of course. Oh yeah, law enforcement, different story. But I just mean in the military context. Great, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah. In the military context, I would say your primary is your rifle, and I would say that's most of the time you use your rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in a military context, not every soldier is issued a pistol and a rifle. Most soldiers, generally speaking, are just issued their duty rifle. More on the special operations side, every service member is issued a secondary and a primary. So if you keep the rifle, in a high state of readiness, it's going to work for you. So having a secondary, as a basic soldier, it's not really relevant to them. They don't even know what that's like. But ever since I crossed the bridges into special operations, it's like, no, you'll always have a secondary because you get issued it. What if your primary goes down? Then you got to have something to transition to. Well, what if I take care of my primary and I rule out all these what ifs? Because if I just sit here and what if it all day, you start to second guess yourself. It's just nice to have. Hey, confined spaces. Vehicle stuff, working on any kind of linear targets and stuff like that. It's nice to have a smaller piece, especially climbing, stuff like that. It's good. And also searching prisoners, if I had a chance to carry it, I'd carry it. If I don't have it, it's not a showstopper for me. It really isn't, because I was a soldier before, and I know what it's like. I clean my shit, I clean my fucking rifle.
Yeah, sure. So, I guess it's safe to say, though, that maybe you could go multiple deployments, even in special forces, and never fire a shot in anger with your handgun, but it's still a nice tool to have, not only as a backup, but to use it under certain circumstances where you might not be able to use a rifle. Did I just characterize that fairly?
Yes, I would say I personally have never pulled my pistol out and shot somebody. Now, with my rifle, different story. But
let's close this one out. If you had to give advice to somebody who is, and a lot of these viewers out there, like maybe they're novices or what have you, or beginners,
absolutely,
and they are looking to buy a handgun for the first time, give them a piece of advice. Benny.
Get something affordable and spend the extra money on ammunition.
Great. That is great advice. Jimmy, you can't use that.
Yeah.
What would your advice be?
Yes, I would say go with something that is, one, reliable. Go with something that's affordable. Don't spend all your money on these exotic pistols. Buy something, because you may change your mind. You may hate this, hate shooting. So I personally recommend a Glock 19. They're everywhere.
So start with something basic, and then if you want to accessorize it and dump a bunch of money into something exotic like a staccato or something, then do that later, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Because you may find as you start shooting, it's not for you. You start blaming the gun for everything. Oh, this gun's all messed up, but it's a Glock 19. Many of other people have shot it and done very well with it, so you can't really blame the 19. So,
well, guys, I'm not worthy to be sitting here with you. You guys are incredible. You're incredible human beings. You're great friends. Benny, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Jimmy, thanks a ton for being on the program. And guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. We'll bring you a little bit more from Austria. Take care.